The human brain is often compared to a muscle, and while that is not entirely accurate from a biological standpoint, the comparison is useful in understanding its potential for growth and adaptation. Just as muscles respond to regular and targeted exercise, the brain responds to mental stimulation, consistent use, and challenges that push it beyond its usual comfort zone. Many people think that intelligence and focus are fixed traits, something you either have or you don't. In reality, research in neuroscience and psychology shows that cognitive abilities can be improved over time through deliberate practice and mental exercise. The key is to engage in activities that stretch different aspects of brain function, including memory, attention, processing speed, problem-solving, and creativity. These do not have to be complicated or time-consuming. Even small, consistent actions can create measurable changes in how effectively your brain works. One simple but highly effective exercise is mindful observation. In everyday life, most people operate on autopilot, barely noticing the details around them. This habit limits the brain's engagement with its environment. By deliberately focusing on small details in your surroundings, such as the texture of a wall, the sound of distant traffic, or the subtle expressions on someone's face, you force your brain to process information more deeply. This kind of attentive observation strengthens neural pathways associated with attention and memory. For example, if you walk to the same bus stop every day, make a conscious effort to notice something different each time. It could be the shape of the leaves on a tree, the arrangement of clouds in the sky, or the pattern of tiles on a sidewalk. Over time, this trains your brain to be more alert and present, which also benefits focus in other areas of life. Another valuable mental exercise is mental arithmetic without the use of a calculator. In a world where technology handles most of our calculations, our ability to do mental math has diminished. Doing simple operations in your head, like adding up prices while shopping, converting measurements, or estimating percentages, stimulates the working memory and increases processing speed. Working memory is like the brain's temporary notepad. It holds and manipulates information in the short term, which is essential for problem-solving and logical reasoning. For instance, if you see a bill for $23 and you are paying with a 50, quickly figure out in your head how much change you should get. This is not about the accuracy of large, complex calculations, but about exercising the brain's capacity to hold and work with numbers without relying on external tools. Reading regularly is another fundamental way to improve brain function. The brain thrives on new information, and reading exposes it to new vocabulary, different sentence structures, and unfamiliar concepts. But to make reading more of a brain exercise, it is important to engage with the content actively rather than passively. This means pausing to think about what you have read, making mental connections to other information you know, or even summarizing the main points in your own words. For example, if you read a chapter in a nonfiction book about memory improvement, take a few minutes afterward to recall the key ideas without looking back at the text. This active recall strengthens long-term memory by forcing the brain to retrieve information rather than simply recognizing it on the page. A less obvious but highly beneficial exercise for the brain is learning a new skill or hobby. This could be a language, a musical instrument, a craft, or even a sport. The challenge of learning something unfamiliar stimulates multiple areas of the brain at once, forming new connections between neurons and improving cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility is the ability to shift between different types of thinking, adapt to new information, and see problems from multiple perspectives. For example, learning a language involves memory for vocabulary, auditory processing for pronunciation, and abstract thinking for grammar. This multifaceted stimulation is one reason why such learning activities have been shown to delay cognitive decline in older adults. The key is to choose something that is challenging but still enjoyable, so that your brain stays engaged over the long term. Another exercise involves deliberately using your non-dominant hand for simple tasks. This might sound trivial, but it forces the brain to work in ways it is not accustomed to. The motor cortex and coordination centers of the brain must form new pathways to manage movements that feel unnatural. You could try brushing your teeth, eating, or even using a computer mouse with your non-dominant hand. In the beginning, it will feel awkward and slower, but with repetition, the brain adapts. This not only improves motor skills, but also enhances overall brain plasticity, which is the ability of the brain to reorganize and form new connections. Visualization is another simple yet powerful brain exercise. It involves forming detailed mental images in your mind, which activates similar neural patterns to those used in real-life experiences. Visualization is widely used by athletes to improve performance, but it can also be applied to everyday life. For example, before giving a presentation, mentally rehearse the scene in as much detail as possible. Imagine the room, the people, your tone of voice, and even the gestures you might use. This primes the brain for the actual experience, making it easier to perform confidently and with focus. Visualization also strengthens creativity, as the brain learns to combine stored memories with imagined possibilities. Finally, practicing sustained attention on a single task is a fundamental way to improve focus in a world filled with distractions. The modern environment trains the brain for short bursts of attention rather than deep concentration. A simple way to counter this is to choose a task, such as reading an article, writing a page, or solving a puzzle, and commit to focusing on it for a set amount of time without checking your phone or switching to another activity. Start with just 5 minutes if necessary, then gradually increase the time. This is similar to lifting progressively heavier weights at the gym. Over time, your brain becomes more capable of sustaining focus for longer periods. The benefits extend to all areas of life, from work performance to learning efficiency. These exercises are not about quick fixes or overnight transformations. They rely on the principle of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change in response to experience. Every time you challenge the brain with new information or unfamiliar tasks, you are strengthening and creating connections between neurons. Just like physical fitness, mental fitness requires consistency. Doing these exercises for a few minutes each day is far more effective than doing them for an hour once in a while. Over time, you may notice that your memory improves, your thinking becomes clearer, and your ability to stay focused increases. These improvements might seem subtle at first, but they accumulate in ways that can significantly enhance both personal and professional life. An important point to remember is that balance is crucial. The brain also needs rest, proper nutrition, and adequate sleep to perform at its best. Without these, even the most effective mental exercises will have limited results. Just as an athlete needs recovery periods to build strength, the brain needs downtime to consolidate memories and repair itself. Combining mental exercises with a healthy lifestyle creates the best conditions for long-term cognitive growth. It is also worth noting that the process should be enjoyable. If you treat mental training as a chore, motivation will drop quickly. Finding pleasure in the process ensures that you will keep doing it consistently, and consistency is what produces real results. Improving brain power and focus is not about becoming someone else or achieving a certain score on an intelligence test. It is about maximizing your own potential and making daily life more manageable and fulfilling. When you train your brain to be more observant, to process information more efficiently, and to stay focused despite distractions, you are giving yourself tools that will be useful in every situation. Whether you are studying, working, solving problems, or simply enjoying a conversation, these mental exercises can help you engage more fully and effectively. The human brain is remarkably adaptable, and with consistent care, it can continue to grow and perform well into old age. What matters most is to start, keep going, and stay curious. Over time, the results will speak for themselves, not through sudden dramatic changes, but through steady, reliable improvement that you can feel in your daily life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on human psychology, self-awareness, and mental growth.